Thank you, Jeff and TJ. Really appreciate you guys joining. So, my first question to both of you is GovCon can also often feel like a really small world. We find ourselves meeting and connecting with and hiring the same people over and over again. And at these events, we attend these GovCon events and these associations, and the network feels really small and really familiar. How is CBDA different? Jeff, do you want to take that one first?
Sure, I'll start off. So I joined a couple of years ago, and I see CBDA really leans forward into truly wanting to grow small and medium-sized businesses. We are helping companies find those needs and leads. We are proactively looking out for one another and wanting to help each other out. Every meeting we go to, whether it's in person or virtual, what do you do? How can I help? It's those are the first two questions that almost every conversation starts with, and then we actually find results. So it really excites me. Other organizations will be, hey, let's just meet and mingle and see what happens. CBDA really takes the lead on the needs and leads and finding great speakers that'll come to those events and also give us insights on what's the latest in the regulation, what's the latest business development opportunities, how do you work with certain larger prime contractors. These are really unique perspectives that you don't quite get everywhere.
I love it. And I completely agree. I love the diverse range of leaders that we have that are brought there. 100% agreed. TJ, I love your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think the piggyback off Jeff is that we have the decision makers in the room a lot of times too, where it's the owners of the companies that are the small and the medium-sized businesses, which makes the conversation a lot better because you're not going through all the middlemen to try and figure out, is this something we can do tomorrow? So you can form a JV, you can talk about mentor protege, you can get into all the nitty-gritty details that are required to really build that strong relationship to then go after and capture some work in the future. And some of the connections that you made through CBDA, they'll stay there for years and years and years because it's a true connection. It's really one of those where, hey, I actually like Jeff and I really want to work with Jeff, or hey, I love Amber, really want to do something with Amber. We're going to figure it out over time because we're going to come together often, but not every single event. And we're going to figure out what are some of those things that we can do. And it just gives you another tool in the tool chest, so to speak, which is, hey, I know Amber does X, and I know Jeff is CPA and has auditing and all these other things in the background. I need somebody to help me with that particular project because I'm missing and I have a gap. I already have someone I can immediately call and they're going to pick up the phone because they know who I am. And that's one of the beauties of CBDA is we are so wide and vast and diverse that it makes it so much easier to do business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're not just about professional services. We got a little bit of everything. I met someone who does uniforms, got manufacturers. I mean, we're industry agnostic. So whatever the service you may provide, we're going to find the right people to match you up. I mean, that's the positives. When we have like this big system integrators, well, you need all the folks who do cybersecurity, architecture, whatever it may be. We kind of have a little bit of everything, and that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too on that is well is we have CMMC, we have all these requirements coming out too. And we have the vendors there that we can talk to of how do we make this happen quickly? Because if we don't have that, we can't get the work at the federal level. So it's just one of those. We have a huge diverse network of people that come to these events, and it's just great because we can talk to everybody we need to at a single shot.
Like, agreed. I think you both talked about the connections that we make. And I think that, just from a networking perspective, those connections are so important. And I think that, we both kind of hit those same points of, the diversity in the network, the different skills that people bring. I love that. So let me kind of build onto that. So we've got, as you guys mentioned with CMMC and compliance and all of that, right? We've got a complex industry here with GovCon. It's got its unique challenges. How do you feel that CBDA supports individuals that are just starting out in this scary world of GovCon? Maybe they're recent college graduates, or maybe they're even experienced professionals that are transitioning into GovCon. TJ, let me start with you.
Yeah, so the best example I have is that we have the scholarship program for cybersecurity that we support. So that's a great example of how we're trying to move people into the GovCon space to a degree because we have all this cybersecurity needs at the federal level. There's more IT work coming out, more AI and machine learning, all those different trades are out there. But even the newer BD people, they come to those events And we can start having these conversations. Like I'll talk to somebody and they're like, "Hey, I've only been doing this for a year." And I'm like, "I need to go introduce you to Charlie, Dr. Painter. I need to go talk to General Verbeck with you. And what is your specialty? What are these things?" So we actually try and help them find the right people they can talk to, almost like a informal mentorship type of arrangement where they can really gather a lot of information from someone that's been seasoned over 30 years or is really, really good at what they do in that particular field, whether it's cyber or maybe it's DoD specific that they're working on. But we can help them. And that's the one beauty about CBDA as well, is that we're all there trying to help each other be successful because we all know that there's more than enough government funding out there. We don't always have to be competing with each other. We can always work together to get the funding as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you brought up the scholarships. So that's fantastic. And again, network, incredibly important. And I actually love the mentoring that you shared about. I do find that we find our more experienced professionals kind of helping our less experienced professionals in this world. And I think that's fantastic. Jeff, let me go to you.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some regulars who are, and they're not shy to say it themselves, who are 50-year plus experienced professionals who come and they're an
Mhm.
encyclopedia of information. Talk about seeing the good and the bad and the ugly. These are the
Great.
people who you want to go talk to. So it's a unique access to these kinds of folks who you won't find at going to an industry day and hoping that you can talk to these people. This is different. These are people who really want to help each other out. I mean, that's the best people I meet. Those I go, hey, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I do some administrative support. And I'm like, okay, how'd you get into that? Well, I was working with the government for a long time. I'd said I could just do this on my own, so I could start creating my own schedule. So I find out that this person is literally a one-person shop, and I'm like, great. We need people like you who are as flexible as it gets and nimble and can meet, any agency that needs it. So having that mentorship type conversation, matching them up. Hey, listen, you probably should talk to this kind of a company so you can, be that 1099 additional surge support as it's needed. And you just throw out ideas, and none of us are going to have the exact right answer, but at least we're going to bring a diversity of perspectives so that new business owner, new singleton, can figure out the scary world that is GovCon. We're always trying to figure out how we can reduce the barriers to entry. Well, this is only another part of that.
Yeah.
Definitely agreed. And I think you guys both talked about connections in so far in every Q&A, it's been about connections, connections, connections. I love it. So now I'm going to go to what's the best connection you've made at CBDA and why? And of course, please no names, but tell me how that has kind of helped you along. Jeff, let's go.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the speakers that we came in was the head of an Ostabu, and we get that fairly frequently. And you just see the value of the folks that are on the outside, whose their job is to really link the smaller businesses to their agencies. And this person is just really forthcoming and proactive, and really wants to understand, what you do for a living, what does your case statement look like and how should it look like and how you can get that in the right hands. And those people, now you connect with them on LinkedIn. You're like, oh my gosh, I can actually talk to these people in government. And you realize that those who are procuring goods and services, they're people still. I mean, no matter what's going on here in government now, there are always people behind the procurement. And so who do you need to do? What do you need to do in order to get access to those people, to those decision makers? Those Astabus, particularly for small business, are a great way to do that. So, seeing them come out to our events, awesome.
I love that. And you mentioned LinkedIn connections. I just want to add my little 2 cents to that. I've only been part of CBDA for a short while. I will tell you, my LinkedIn has increased over 200 new connections in that short time frame. I mean, that's incredible. And that's not just CBDA, it's CBDA members. And then, oh, let me introduce you to someone. Oh, Amber, you would be perfect for, and the connections made there. So it's been outstanding in that regard for me. TJ, tell me what your thoughts are around the best connection.
Yeah. So I actually got to throw a name in there because it's Charlie. It's Dr. Painter. I mean, I'll break the rule for this particular reason because Charlie was the one that introduced me to CBDA. He's the one that brought me on and kind of helped me with some of the things that we're trying to do with CBDA, got me onto the board, all those different things. But it's not just that, it's he was the reason that I'm at CBDA, but now you have all these other connections. So the fact that he was able to connect me with CBDA and the whole community there is actually the biggest connection point that we actually have. So you got to give Charlie a lot of props for that, because you look at the history of CBDA, and that's why he formed it in the beginning, is all these BD people coming together, having a conversation, trying to figure out how to make more money for each other, win more work, all those different things. And so through that one connection, now I have thousands of connections. And that's the big piece here.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones, I won't use their names, are like Dallas Cowboy fans, and I won't use that against them. But sometimes it's hard to overlook those little traits, but it is fun because now you get to talk about something else. So it's not always business either. And that's one of the things that we can find out from the OSBADU people that come, some of the other federal staff, is we learn those little things about them that opens the door for a conversation to build a relationship long term that then gives us a better opportunity to get to work in the future. Because if you build that personal relationship, business stuff can come as well. But the personal is where you can really get a lot of the information you need to, hey, is this something we need to go after or not? Is it potentially wired? Some of those personal relationships can help you with that. And that's very, very key in this world.
Yeah, I love that you talked about the personal relationships. I do think that's incredibly important. And I think that, kind of fast forwarding to my next question, it fits right in, which is, what do you like best about the networking opportunities you have at our events? And I would honestly say perhaps it's that personal touch that you get, the face to face, the smile, the handshake, the warmthness that you get from people. But I would love to hear, TJ, what are your thoughts around, obviously personal is incredibly important, but then beyond that there's other networking opportunities. So tell me, what else do you like around the events?
Well, so the events are really good because like the Army Navy Country Club, the food's always amazing. We always have really dynamic speakers a lot of times. But it's also it's being able to introduce someone to someone else. For example, like I introduced a really good friend that's a Air Force veteran, and I introduced him to one of the other board members that's an Air Force veteran. And to sit there and watch them talk about being in the Air Force for like 2 hours, I mean literally 2 hours at an event, it has nothing to do with work, but just being able to build that relationship for those individuals. I mean, some of that's just satisfying, but it's also the fact that CBDA tries to evolve the events as we go. Like we're gonna have the sips and cigars or whatever it is coming up in April. So it's a different fun things that we can do as well, where we have the golf tournament. You have 4 hours in some cases just to sit there and talk with people and build relationships and work out those deals. And so it's the evolution of some of the networking opportunities that's great too, because it's not the same thing over and over again. So we're trying to do something different as we start moving forward too.
Yeah, Jeff, what can you add around
Yeah,
the events?
we'd be remiss to say the cost to join CBDA, nothing. You send a note and say,
Yeah.
hey, listen, this is a great organization. Can I join? And we say, yes. Come join the LinkedIn group. Come join every virtual event that typically happens every other month. You will be charged exactly nothing. So there's nothing to lose to try it. But then you see, like, we're just like-minded professionals who want to help each other out. If you haven't heard this like 1,000 times, we have a great culture here at CBDA, and we just want to help each other out. We're not looking for give and takes. It's not a quick pro quo. There's none of that. Well, listen, if you be a sub on this thing, we're gonna go the other way on the other way. Stop. We don't do that here. It's all about what can we do, and that's it. I don't think there's without that pay to play instance, I think that also has people realizing that, like, we're just looking out for each other and we just want to help each other out. I mean, we help find people jobs too. Let's not forget about that aspect too. So we know this is a very competitive market, right? Especially right now, with some other agencies downsizing, there's opportunities at others. So, for those who were on the civilian side, learning how to do business development on the defense side, come to CBDA. We'll help teach you. A lot of great people who will come and show you the way and what you need to do, adjust in order to succeed on that side.
Yeah, and
I-
a really good example. Sorry, Amber. A really good
yeah,
example
please.
of that is we're on the virtual event this last week, And I have 7 follow-up phone calls this week and next week with people to talk about different things, whether it's, hey, just tell me a little bit more about your company because it was interesting. We never had enough time to actually get into it. So let me hear a little bit more about the company. And then other ones are, hey, we have this opportunity. Let's try and figure out how we can work together because I think we need what you guys have and we could use what we have. And we could build a really strong competitive proposal. So, I mean, it's just being able to make those quick connections and have a follow-up too come after it is very important too for some of these. And I know people have been able to get work out of this left and right. So the connections you're making here are paying off dividends as well.
And so TJ, just to hit on that just a little more around helping you grow your business, right? So obviously the connections are great. We've all talked about the connections. We've talked about all the different aspects around the growth of your business, whether it's proposals, doing business together, referring the right person, helping mentor. Give me your thoughts on growth of your business.
Yeah, so right now I'm the chief growth officer at Reading Rancheria Contracting Services Corporation. We're a tribal 8A, so we're the super 8A. We're sought after in several different ways, but also we run into some of the individual 8As and like, you guys are the billion-dollar companies walking around pretending to be small. And so we have to kind of fight that stigma a little bit as well. But for us, we're brand new tribal 8A. I mean, literally brand new. We got it a year ago. And so these connections, the relationships, all the conversations we're having is trying to help us position to go and get work in the future and do it in a way that makes sense for everybody that's involved through the JVs, looking for potential mentor protege JVs so we take advantage of that program, but looking for those partners too that have the GSA schedules, the GWACs, the BPA, some of those things that we can work on, but also looking at those individual 8As as, hey, you guys can run out of your time frame at some point. How do we continue to keep you in position to get that work in the long term? And we might be the answer for you because we can spin out another 8A. We have opportunities and stuff like that that could be beneficial for you as well. So it's really helped us kind of figure out where some of those partners are. But to Jeff's point earlier about we actually hire people. So we watch and look to see what those resumes are that come out, and we might make a phone call and say, "Hey, are you guys interested in coming work for us?" So we can have another person on a team that's a project manager, an engineer, pricing person, whatever it might be that these people are looking for. We might be able to pull them into our team because they've been recommended and vetted through our system, and we have really good group of people here at CBDA. So it's like a no-brainer to go to those people first and say, "Hey, come over here. We know you guys are good."
So
So
TJ, I loved how you talked not just about the growth of your company, but also the growth for helping the entire association, right? Of helping people that are looking for work, helping, bring in new talent into your company. I think that's fantastic. Jeff, I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, sure. So Cohn Resnick, we're a large CPA firm where government contracting is a very small piece. So I come from a very unique position where I'm half the day I'm a government contractor myself, and the other day I'm advising government contractors. So I love providing that expertise to the association, anyone who's coming to our meetings and events. I just want to help. I mean, that's the whole reason why I went into public accounting. I used to work in the government for 8.5 years, so I know what it's like to be procuring the services. And in my case, I was the contract auditor. I was also the core, and I've been the program manager. So I've sat in all those chairs, and very much identify with how the government is procuring goods and the difficulties and the challenges we have finding the right person to help us out. And so giving that perspective, just like I would do for any client, I do for any association member. And that's what it's all about, right? So I just want to get people I just want get people the right people, the right access, and just have the right knowledge, like knowing the current events and knowing all the latest policies and changes with how the government is procuring goods, understanding, what's a commercial item determination, like all these new concepts that are going to be prominent in this new administration in particular. We're going to keep you up to date at CBDA and making sure that you're ahead of the curve and not finding out about it at the last minute when the RFP comes out, because that's going to be too late.
yeah, and I do gotta say, Jeff, I almost like stalk you on LinkedIn sometimes because all the information you put out there, because it's been so valuable in the last like 3 months, basically, of what's gonna change, what potentially could change, what's happening, what has changed. What are the ramifications for those changes? What are some of the opportunities? And I think that's one of the things too, is it gets us to think about the SWOT analysis of our own groups a lot as well, which is every strength could be a weakness, every weakness could be a strength, every opportunity is actually a threat, and vice versa. So it makes us kind of look at it from a different viewpoint at times, which is, hey, this happened over here, but that's going to open up the door for us to do something in the future with all of that that's going on. So again, the resources that Jeff's talking about is very vital to a lot of people in the group, because there's so much information that gets put out there. And who do you trust? I
Yep.
trust someone like Jeff because I know him, right? And it makes it a lot easier to kind of say, hey, this is the information we need to follow because this person I know personally is going to give us the best information he possibly can.
So TJ and Jeff, I loved both of your answers, but I could probably summarize with just a tiny phrase with, CBDA seems to me and your summary is good people helping good people. That's really what it feels like here, right? We believe that good people are in our association and we are here to help them. I think that's fantastic. All right, so closing, where do you see CBDA in the future? TJ, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, so I see CBDA growing in the sense that we're going to have more true like mentorship programs. We're going to have more scholarship opportunities. We're going to do more for women in GovCom. We're going to do more for all the different college and younger professionals as we go forward. But we're going to have cooler events and stuff too. We're going to have the golf tournament continue to be on there, but we're going to do other things like the cigars and sips and all the different things that we're looking at. Because again, we have to stay current with the environment. We always are trying to evolve, because even though the federal landscape doesn't change too much from the FAR regulations and things of that nature, the landscape does evolve with the different administrations coming into play, different priorities coming to the fold or to the forefront. And so CBDA will continue to evolve in those senses as well. But we have a bunch of things that we're capable of doing as a 501c3 that will really transition and drive a lot of growth for us in the future, and help a lot more business development people across the capital region, but also outside that. Because again, a lot of our people are there in the capital region. I'm in Arizona. So as we start branching out even further, we'll get even more individuals that are good people helping other good people. And that'll be great for the organization as a whole.
Love it. All right. And Jeff, where do you see the future of CBDA?
Listen, we're going to help you find needs and leads even better. So we're rolling out a software platform here very, very soon, so that you'll be able to, hey, you need someone who has a specialty in a certain NAICS code. That's not just looking in SAM.gov. You looking, well, who's in CBDA? Who's the actual person who will actually pick up the phone when I call them? Like, that's going to be a big game changer for us. And again, what's this going to cost the member of a CBDA to access this software? Zero, unless we make a change as a board that I didn't know of. No, that's the whole point, that we're building this for the association. And this is going to be really key. And not to mention, and then to TJ's point, we're going to get out there to different geographies. We've been having plans for a little while. We got stalled by COVID a bit, but we want to get out there. We don't want to just have events in the DC area in perpetuity. We want to get out there. We want to get to the Huntsvilles. We want to get to the Tampas. We want to get to Southern California and get these folks in person there as well. So coming soon. Give us a little time, but we're going to get there. We're already at well over 2,000 members. 4,000, 6,000 is probably not going to be soon behind. But I'm very excited for this future. There's a reason why I love being on the board of CBDA. I'm very privileged.
I love it. Thank you so much to both of you. I really appreciate your time today. Great job answering the questions. CBDA has an amazing future of good people helping good people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.